All right, guys. So today we got some big news in the world of finance. The Bank of Canada just announced its newest interest rate drop. So what does this mean for you and the real estate market? Whether you're buying, selling, investing, doesn't matter. We're going to be talking about that in this podcast episode, so stick around. I guess we introduce ourselves at this point. My name is Steve. This is Augustino. We're with Owl House Realty. We got a nice little owl decoration here, So
Yeah.
um,
This change could shift everything, right? I mean, there's obviously some conditions that are going to be affected by it, and we're going to break it down now and see how we'd let our audience understand what's happening next.
So the policy rate went down a bit to 3%. They dropped it by 25 basis points, which is good overall, right? Because if you're a buyer, you're looking to buy a house, now you can probably qualify for a little bit more or lower your monthly expenses. And then if you're a seller, there's now that there's more buyers in the market who can qualify and can actually buy houses. It's good for sellers because now there's more competition, more people are going to be actually able to buy your house in the first place.
Yeah. Right? So do you think this 0.25 is going to make an overall change on the market, or?
I think it is good because it shows people, it gets people kind of moving, right? But the 0.25 itself might not financially make the biggest impact. I mean, on an $800,000 mortgage, that can be quite a bit of interest that you're paying. But I think it's good because it gets people moving again. It gets people like, okay, they're lowering rates and they're steadily going down. There's another announcement in March. I think March 12th is going to be the next one. So it kind of shows a trend in a general direction, right?
Yeah. Obviously now there's more fear, I guess, with the tariffs that Trump's,
Yeah, so that's the other factor that might, put a bit of a monkey wrench in the works, right?
And if that happens, that's going to cause a ripple effect in terms of which way is it going to go? Is it going to go up? Is it going to go down? The rate's going to change because as tariffs, in history would probably cause rates to go up, right?
Yeah. It's hard. Yeah, exactly. It could go both ways. It's one of those things where what's really going to happen. Like obviously the rates dropping is good, right? That's going to stimulate the economy. But then if there's a trade war going on and that really just halts our GDP.
I'm hoping it's just a scare tactic, really.
Yeah.
Ultimately.
Yeah.
I think knowing Trump, he's just trying to get
Yeah.
And if it works, great.
That's the thing.
For him. Hopefully, someone has understanding for Canada.
Yeah, exactly. He says a lot of stuff, right? Like a lot of things he says, and it's just to.
He's also doing a lot of stuff.
Of course, yeah, but he's to kind of poke the bear a little bit, right? Yeah. So just put something out there, it gets people like worried about it, like, oh no, we're thinking about it now, and then it's like, okay, we gotta maybe reanalyze some of these trade deals that we're doing, and then it gets people thinking, right? Like even just the threat of action.
And I think that's what's going to cause not so much of a spike in the market. I think people are still going to be worried and we're going to wait till February 1st now because that's the new date that he's announcing if the tariffs going to go through or not with Canada and Mexico.
Oh, that's February 1st.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So if that happens, I think right now people are still going to wait. It's not too far away.
Yeah.
2 days away, right? So we're going to wait and see. And if there's hopefully he just backs off, or if he said something like, oh, maybe I'll change it. We'll let you know in March.
Yeah, just pushes it a little bit.
He's still playing games. Like he just want to see what's happening. But if he's firm and says, no, that's it. We're putting tariffs on. That's going to cause a problem. I'm sure the buyers are going to start to worry, and because it's going to affect everything. The market's going to be destroyed because imagine 25% tariffs on all your materials, your steel, all your building materials that are coming in from the US. It's going to affect
the job market.
Oh yeah, no one's going to build homes the way they were. So I don't know.
That's a good point. That might raise price. That will probably raise prices too, right? Because if it costs a lot more to build the homes, that's just going to get passed down to the end consumer, right? Because builders need to make their money. They need to get their money back that they've invested into these projects that they have.
Yeah. So hopefully it doesn't happen, and then we can get back on track, and everybody can start moving along and buying their homes that they've been waiting for a while. And a lot of sellers are hurting because they're not like they used to back in 2021, 22. Houses were selling within 6, 8, 10 days max. Now they're on the market for 35, 40,
60, right?
They have to lower the price.
Yeah, that's the thing too, because you get anchored to the price that you could have gotten back in 2021, like at the peak of the market, right before they raised the interest rates. And so people they look at that and be like, I could have gotten $870,000 from a house, but now it's barely hitting 700, right, in terms of the price. And that's really affecting your plans and where you're like what you were thinking of doing, right? And,
Yeah.
yeah,
And how many people bought in the 2021
yeah,
have to renew the mortgage coming up
exactly.
soon,
Yeah.
and that's going to affect things too.
Oh,
So luckily,
yeah,
they're seeing some decrease,
yeah,
but I don't think they'll ever get to the point where they
yeah,
bought it at the peak in 2021,
yeah,
and they're having a mortgage, under 1%,
yeah,
right? I don't see that happening in
yeah.
the near future.
I don't know. Maybe
If
these
we
next
can get,
couple announcements, who knows if they
yeah,
do,
yeah, yeah. Well, hopefully it gets down to
Yeah,
2%, which something that would help
yeah.
by the end of the year
It
for
definitely
sure.
helped get things moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Because
there's no way I don't see it happening where those prices are going to go crazy like they did
no,
before. I mean, it was I think it was overinflation. It was just
yeah,
too many people just buying up stuff and not really thinking. How many investors do we
yeah,
know that actually got
yeah,
affected by it? They bought at the
yeah.
high, thinking, "Oh, I'm going to start
Oh my
investing
God,
money.
I
I'm
know,
going to buy
I know.
property,"
Yeah,
and
and
then the mortgage started to go up because they're on variables, right?
yeah, yeah,
And they couldn't keep up, right?
yeah,
The payments were too high and their cash flow is not there.
yeah.
So now they got to sell at a loss.
Yeah, it's good to keep that in mind, like when you're looking at the mortgage, whether you're going variable or fixed. Okay, yeah, your fixed might be a little bit higher, but it depends, right? Can you deal with a raise in your monthly expenses, right? You have the cash flow coming in from maybe the property itself or somewhere else, if it's just your own primary residence. You got to kind of keep that in mind, right? Sometimes it's better to go with that fixed just to have the peace of mind to not have to worry about that. Maybe, yeah, it might be slightly more, but then at least your payment is exactly the same, and it's going to remain the same for that term, right? You're not
Yeah.
right. So
Well,
it really depends on the individual too, right?
if you're
Depends on
noticing that the rates are going up, then I'd say
yeah,
definitely fix it, right? But
yeah,
since the last year it's
yeah,
been starting to drop,
yeah,
it does make sense in my opinion.
yeah.
I'm
To,
not, I'm
to
not
go
an
with a
expert.
variable, right?
I'm not an
Yeah, yeah,
expert, but I'm saying in my opinion to go
yeah,
with variable
yeah,
because there will be a time when you can actually
hmm
fix it. With
yeah,
variables, you're
exactly.
allowed to fix it. So if you
Hmm
feel that it's going back up again,
Yeah,
you fix it and you're done.
yeah,
Because right now, variable has been working for the last
hmm
few months, and
yeah,
buyers who are on variable are actually winning because
hmm
they just got another drop.
yeah,
Drop
yeah,
in December,
exactly.
they got a drop
Yeah,
now. It's going to happen.
hmm
Hopefully, happens again in March.
yeah, yeah.
So
It's a good point. Yeah, yeah, definitely depends on the individual. Guys, we're not mortgage agents, by the way. Just a heads
no,
up.
no, no.
So seek third party advice if you're looking at getting a
Yeah,
mortgage. But yeah, no, that's
I mean
that's a
we
good
have
point, right?
experts as well.
Yeah,
You can let us know, DM us
yeah,
or whatever. We'll give you some good
yeah,
experts that can feed you that information. But
yeah.
from
Yeah, yeah. That's the thing. It's good. It's a good point. Yeah, because it really does depend on the individual and sort of what their plans are
yeah,
as well, right? Like when you're buying a house, like in the short term, I had a friend the other day was asking me like, well, should I just like buy like a cheap condo in the short term? And I'm like, it depends really. Like how short term are you talking? If you're talking like 1 year, 2 years max, maybe like you're probably gonna lose on all the closing fees and everything that you're
oh
paying
yeah.
over that time. You're better off just renting something for a
Why
year.
would they ask for the short term though?
Well, because then maybe after like a couple of years, might be getting a new job, maybe moving to a different city. There's a lot of scenarios like
They
that where
weren't
you're not
sure.
really too sure,
So
right?
their option
If you're
was
in your
to
mid
rent.
20s, right? Yeah,
Their option was to rent or buy
yeah,
something.
exactly, right? Yeah, because you can't live with your parents forever, unfortunately. And yeah, but it's also like maybe not necessarily ready to buy the house you'd want right now, but also looking to get into something. So it's like, oh, if I get a cheap condo, maybe in like the mid 3s to 4s in Hamilton, and then in a couple of years I could sell it and then buy like a detached home, or maybe once my income has gone up a little bit, but then you run the risk of maybe the market hasn't appreciated
Yeah.
at all at that point. It doesn't cover all the closing costs. You got land transfer tax, you got lawyer fees. There's a bunch of expenses associated with that you end up
Correct.
paying, and you might come out. You might come out on top, you might
Yeah.
not, and it's might be better off just to rent for a little bit.
Yeah, and if you can direct
Yeah.
them to maybe a detached home or a townhome, I
Yeah,
think there's more upside than there
yeah.
will be in a
Oh yeah,
condo.
absolutely.
Because condos, the only thing going up in condos
Yeah,
is the condo
this is the
fee.
condo fees. Yeah, yeah. That's the thing.
Especially in this market, right?
Yeah, especially the cheap ones, they have the higher fees, which makes the resale a lot
Yes,
harder,
yes.
right? Because
Anybody
people see a
looking,
$700 condo fee, they go, I don't want that, right?
right?
Yeah,
Anybody
yeah,
looking at the 300-400, as you mentioned,
mhm,
condos, the
yeah,
fees are going to probably be
yeah,
up.
yeah, absolutely, yeah, yeah. That's
Pretty
the
high,
biggest
so
thing
you
that
can't.
kills you.
Yeah,
Yeah, because you gotta consider the resale value. Yeah, when you're buying something like that, because you're buying it, especially if it's a short term, maybe like 5-8 years or something like that. You want to definitely be looking at that resale value. Like if
yeah,
you're gonna live in it for the next 30 years, it's not as important. It will trend upwards over that time frame. But if you're looking at a short to medium term time frame, you definitely want to consider that. For
yeah.
sure.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I always try to let my clients know that if you can buy something that's a little bit higher than
Yeah.
the 400, factor in your condo fees
Yeah.
and figure out that maybe you can probably qualify for a 550 home and
Yeah.
get it detached.
Yeah.
and that's going to hold value and probably go up in
The
value.
appreciation is better on that.
Yeah, and there are some good deals out there right now.
Yeah.
Obviously, because of the inventory is high, right?
Yeah.
And it is a buyer's market, so
Mm-hmm.
I think that might shift soon, but right now it's still kind of considered a buyer's market.
Yeah.
In my opinion, from what I've seen so far, there's a lot of product out there, and buyers have been purchasing properties at less than list price for sure. Like no one's over buying selling over list price anymore right now.
Yeah.
Seems like anyway.
There's not a whole lot of those bidding wars going on.
No.
You're not really seeing that. You do see occasionally. You'll see one that gets like 20 offers for some reason, but it's not as common.
The really low price ones that maybe like the fixed
offers, some of them are they're priced purposely low. Yeah. They're like $399, but the house is actually worth like $570 or something, right?
Yeah.
So you get people in the door. They go, "Oh wow, this is great, $399. I get this great detached house with, it's like it's not actually gonna go for $399."
Yeah, and some of the new buyers don't know what this.
Yeah, that's
especially new home buyers. They really don't know unless they have, hopefully they have realtors that are actually educating them, let them know that this is not the true value.
That's the thing.
Say, listen, it's listed at $399, but I've already got 14 offers on this house.
Yeah,
it's going to be over 5, over 4, whatever. So if they're saying no, but I only want to list, I want to put 401 on it.
Yeah.
Then the value is 550.
Yeah. So probably not getting that unless
educate your buyers, let them know. Like you're wasting everybody's time. It's not only that, you're just giving false hopes to the buyer. Yeah. So let them know that ahead of time.
Yeah.
If there's no offers, that's a different story altogether, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because there are some out there that maybe it just wasn't. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't advertised properly, or the photos are bad, or I don't know. But I think a lot of times the price range somebody sees $399, even if the photos are bad, they're like, okay, let's just put an offer. Sometimes let's just put an offer on it, right? Yeah.
Well, the good thing is, as we said, like today's rate drop will definitely stir some interest in the buyer's market. I think it's going to change things, and if you haven't already talked to a mortgage broker at this time, I think it's a good idea to get out there, start seeing what your value is, what you can afford, and maybe you can get a better home and start looking at it. If you have any questions,
Absolutely, yeah. One of the things to keep in mind too is talking to a mortgage broker is usually free. They don't charge you for the most part. There might be some out there that do, but for the most part, most of the mortgage brokers we work with, anyways, they don't charge you. It's just a quick 15-minute, 20-minute consultation, really, and then they'll ask you a couple questions, get an idea, and then you have some information, and then you can make better decisions once you have all the information with you. You don't even have to go with them if you want to go in a different direction. You decide you want to wait based on the number you get. Maybe it's lower than you were expecting. Maybe thought you could qualify for that $550,000, $600,000 house, but maybe you can only get a condo with what you get. It's a little bit lower. So you're like, okay,
speaking of mortgage, sorry to cut you off. Speaking of mortgage brokers, I just thought of something. What about these clients or new home buyers that have no idea what a mortgage broker is, or they hear the word broker and they think, oh, I got to pay a fee.
That's a good point.
It's going to take a commission off me, whatever.
Yeah.
What's your
Well, not all mortgage brokers are the same, right? Like some might charge you a fee. I would just ask them, like, hey, like, can I get what are the fees that I would be paying you? Can I get like a breakdown of that? Like, what are my fees? Like anything that, like, just a breakdown of all the costs that you're actually paying. Typically, you don't actually even pay the mortgage broker yourself. They're paid by the lender to bring the client, which is you in this case. Right. So there's usually no fees that you as the buyer are actually paying, but sometimes people will sneak some other stuff in there to increase the amount that you actually end up paying. So you would just want to ask for something.
And the ones we work with, we make sure they're very fully transparent.
Yeah, exactly.
And if we see something that's shady, we drop them.
Yeah,
we don't
want
to work with that stuff because we want to make sure everything's in the up and up.
I want to work with scumbags.
Everything's in the up and up, and going back to mortgage broker versus, let's say, that your bank. Mm-hmm. When you're dealing with the bank, you only have one product pretty much that you're looking at. They only have so many, variable or 6 months fixed or 5-year fixed or whatever the case may be, with only one product. When you're looking at a broker, they have the ability to go in and shop around for you. They can look at BMO, TD, RBC. They can go to some credit unions. They can go to B lenders if you need to, right?
Well, it's kind of like going to a car dealership. If I go to a Toyota dealer, they're only selling me Toyotas. Maybe Toyota isn't the best car for me. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. If you want to look at a bunch of different cars in a similar price range, you want to be able to look at all the different models of cars. It's the same thing. If you go to a Toyota dealer, they can only sell you Toyota cars. I'm not going to sell you
unless you're buying a used.
Yeah, unless you're buying a used. Yeah. This is an analogy. It's not perfect. But
no, but that's true. You don't want to buy a used mortgage, right? So yeah, it makes sense.
How would that work? Yeah.
It would.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you
Use
this one.
mortgage. Yeah. I
This
guess it's an
guy's. I can tell you this guy's
you're gonna
mortgage. He's at 6.8%.
assign it or whatever. I guess that's how that works. Yeah.
Yeah, but again,
Yeah.
going back, brokers have the ability to shop for you. So what I've found, unless you have a really good working relationship with your bank
Mhm.
and you're a solid like A+
Mhm.
client, you have a great credit score,
Yeah.
and
Let's be honest.
you're
It's not too. That's not too many of us.
yeah,
Right? If you're making $800,000 a year, your credit's perfect. You have a perfect employment history. Everything is great across the board. Then sure, yeah, your bank will probably help you out. But
and you've been mortgaged
yeah,
with them for the last 20 years,
yeah,
then
you're
you're
doing
probably
fine.
going to get the best rate
Yeah.
with them.
And if you're selling your house for $1 million on cash, right? You don't have a mortgage on it,
Exactly.
right? Then
But
yeah,
most people that are
yeah,
worried about this are first-time home buyers or
yeah,
just starting out or
Yeah.
whatever, and that question to them is, do I
Yeah.
just go to the bank? Well, no, I think it's best to get a second opinion.
yeah.
Go to your bank, of course,
Yeah.
find out what they can do for you, and maybe
Well, that's the
talk
thing.
to
It
the
never
broker.
hurts to get a second opinion, right? Like it just again, it's a free 15,
Oh, yeah.
15 minutes of your life. You get some more information, right? Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't
That's
for you,
right.
but it's not the end of the world
If
if
they
you
can
end
help
up
you, then why not, right?
going a different direction, right? Because yeah, most people they need that flexible solution that a mortgage broker can provide you with, and that the banks it's a lot more rigid. They don't have as many options for you. So if you have a less than stellar financial situation, then yeah, the mortgage broker is probably going to be your best option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, I think it's a good thing. I'm hoping it went in the right direction as far as I'm concerned. We need to
Yeah.
continue bringing the rates down
Yeah.
so that we don't have the issues that we're already seeing with
Yeah.
foreclosures,
Yeah.
with people having to sell at a loss.
Yeah.
Hopefully that we can bring that back and get everybody back
Yeah.
on track. We're getting
Yeah,
hit too
like,
hard.
there's a huge affordability issue for sure as well, like, especially with the first time home buyers. Like if you're maybe moving up, you already have a house to sell, it's gone up, it's appreciated a lot in the last 10 years, and you're selling and moving on. You're doing all right. Maybe
Yeah.
still not great overall, but like a lot of the first time buyers that I'm talking to are that's the biggest
They're
issue.
worried,
It's the
right?
affordability. They don't know what's going on. They don't know what's happening with the rates. Is like a couple of years ago, maybe they could have what they could have qualified for versus now what they can qualify for. It's completely different. They barely get a condo now, whereas you could have bought in 2018, you could have bought like a detached home, 300 grand easy,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
Like in Hamilton, right? But now it's like that barely gets you a crappy condo. So yeah, that's the biggest thing that I see people are worried about. But the demand is there. Like
Yeah.
the demand is there. There needs to be some more changes, and like we said, I think it is moving in the right direction. I think this is good overall for the market. I think it's going to stimulate some activity, make it a little bit help the affordability. If you're having trouble selling your house as well, it's been sitting on the market. I think it's going to bring out more buyers as well. So I think it's good overall for people. Now we just got to wait and see what happens with the Trump tariffs. That's pretty much the biggest unknown I can see right now. In the world, maybe World War III starts. Who knows? But it's still important, guys. If anybody's out there, you're thinking of buying or selling a house, it's still good to seek some of that personalized advice. If you're looking to buy, you definitely want to speak to a mortgage agent as well. Ask them about the new changes, how it affects your affordability. If you're selling, you definitely want to speak to a qualified real estate agent who can actually help you sell that house and get you the most money for it. So
yeah. And it's very important, as Steve mentioned, to make sure you get your pre-approval done so that you're not guessing at what you can buy.
Yeah.
We've had situations where the buyer believes they can buy a house for $650, but ultimately when we put an offer in, condition on financing, 5 days go by and they're only good for $550.
Yeah.
So it's really, really important before you even put an offer in, before you even start looking, is to make sure you have that approval done. It makes it a lot easier for you to buy the right house that you want without having to guess, which is going to be better for you in the long run.
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense to go. Like if you go shopping and trying to buy a new TV, you don't know how much money you have in your bank account. Like you don't know what you can even buy, right? You're just looking at stuff, and it's just kind of like
you're not going to walk into Costco and say, "Hey, I want this one here for $33,000."
Yeah.
You put your card in. Sorry, it's declined.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait a minute, I have 1,500.
Yeah.
I can't buy this one.
Yeah, or maybe you thought you had 3,000 in there, but you haven't checked your statement in the last 6 months,
you
right?
Have to pay your phone bill. You have to
Another thing too that's good to keep in mind is that the pre-approvals expire. So I think like roughly 90 to 100 days. It depends, something like that, but they do expire. So if you got pre-approved 6 months ago, that doesn't necessarily mean that you still have that same qualification today. So you're going to want to just have another talk with your mortgage broker, your bank, whoever you went with, and just get that updated. So that
Start saving.
Yeah.
Continue
And start
saving.
saving. Yeah.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Okay.
yeah, guys, if you have any questions about anything we spoke about, just reach out to us. We'd love to have a conversation with
Yeah.
you. If you have any questions, any concerns, anything like that, or just real estate in general, just let us know.
Yeah, don't forget to like, share,
Yeah.
and push the blue button.
Like and subscribe.
Subscribe.
We'll come for you. We'll
Yes,
come to your house that we just helped you
Yeah.
buy.
We're going to be doing this regularly, so hopefully you guys can subscribe and share with your friends, and we
All
can
right.
get that thing moving, okay?
Cool. All right, let's end. Like I'll throw a pie at your face or something.
Yeah,
Let's do
perfect.
something like
Thank you.
that.
All right.